The most important artist for our generation is Kendrick Lamar.
Gentlemen, Kendrick Lamar.
Poet,
it ain't really a poem, I just felt like
wordsmith, and voice of a generation have all been accurate terms used to describe this man. And now that he's releasing music again after a very long hiatus, I want to talk about what makes his music so special.
This is special.
It's how he walks the line between telling timeless stories in such a quintessentially modern way. And nowhere can this be better seen than in his sophomore record, my favorite album of all time,
I did not have
To Pimp a Butterfly.
I love this album more than I love myself.
The album is both critically and commercially acclaimed,
10 on this record.
putting Kendrick on the same level as Bob Dylan
isn't that something?
in terms of cultural relevance. It isn't a simple collection of songs as it is an intricate, interconnected web of concepts explored with poetry and jazz.
You like jazz?
All of which are umbrellaed under an underlying theme, which is Kendrick's own internal conflict.
I remember you was conflicted.
And how that somehow seems to mirror the ethics of today's society. The one that really strikes a chord with me is How Much a Dollar Cost. The song recounts a conversation Kendrick has with a homeless man who asks him for a single dollar. Throughout the verses, Kendrick reflects on the simplest of requests. By this point in his life, he was a very successful and wealthy artist, but can't seem to part with just $1.
$1.
He comes up with all these justifications for holding on to his money, saying things like, "My selfishness is what got me here." Eventually, after realizing Kendrick's inseparable attachment to his own wealth, the homeless man reveals his true identity as God.
Are you Jesus Christ?
So when Kendrick is asked to forego his wealth as an entry cost to heaven, he chooses his own material wealth over moral virtue. In this way, Kendrick is recounting the biblical story of the wealthy man who approaches Jesus, asking what he needs to do to gain entry into heaven. And Jesus tells him, if you want to enter heaven, sell all your possessions and give them to the poor. When the young man heard this, he went away sad because he had great wealth. In his book Capitalist Realism, the cultural critic Mark Fisher comments that Kurt Cobain's death signified the death of the anti-establishment ethos in popular music which he represented. What filled that pop culture vacuum was a form of popular music which was far more in favour of capitalist wealth accumulation. Fisher's point is that this transition in popular music is reflective of a broad cultural shift in popular ideology, from counterculture to today's dominant political ethos of capitalist realism.
Greed is good. Greed is right. Greed works.
It's this notion that by following the money, our lives somehow become enriched. But that greed comes at a cost. Whether one believes in Jesus as a divine figure or not, you can't deny his profound insights.
You're so wise.
When the rich man in the story is denied entry to heaven, I like to think it wasn't the quintessentially pearly gates in the clouds, but it was the abundant life here on earth. Kendrick takes this messaging and narrates it in a popular song. His rejection of capitalist greed by putting it in a popular format also rejects the dominant capitalist ideology in popular music. We need more artists like Kendrick. As modern culture and politics continues to fall victim to the idolization of wealth, it's soul nourishing to see an artist use the medium of the 21st century to tell a story that is so timeless but has never been more relevant.